Imagine if a single twist of fate could have changed the course of history forever. Tonight, we're diving into the chilling moments when Adolf Hitler came terrifyingly close to death. Here are 10 times Hitler's life hung by a thread, moments that could have ended World War II before it began. As we explore these near misses, you'll see just how fragile the past really was. Let's pull back the curtain on history's most dramatic close calls. November 8th, 1939. The world stood on the edge of chaos as war raged across Europe. In Germany, the Nazi regime seemed unstoppable, its grip tightening with each passing day. But on this cold November evening, fate hovered on a knife's edge, and history teetered between two possible futures. Munich's Bürgerbräukeller buzzed with anticipation as Adolf Hitler prepared to address his most loyal followers. The beer hall, steeped in history and echoing with the fervor of the Nazi movement, was packed wall to wall. Outside, the city's streets pulsed with tension as rumors of war and resistance swirled through the air. Among the crowd, unnoticed by most, was Georg Elser, a quiet, unassuming carpenter from a small town. But Elser carried a secret that could change the course of history. He had hidden a carefully constructed time bomb behind Hitler's podium, set to detonate during the speech, hoping to end the dictator's reign in a single decisive moment. Elser had spent weeks preparing for this night. He worked alone, chiseling out a hidden compartment in the thick stone pillar behind the podium, meticulously assembling his deadly device with the precision of a master craftsman. Every detail mattered: timing, placement, concealment. He risked everything, driven by a belief that one act could save millions. But that night, something unexpected happened. Hitler, usually meticulous with his schedule, ended his speech 13 minutes early. He rushed from the stage, eager to catch a waiting train, before a fierce storm swept into Munich. The audience, still hanging on his every word, barely noticed his abrupt departure. Moments later, the bomb exploded with a deafening roar, tearing through the beer hall. 8 people were killed, dozens wounded, and the building was left in ruins. But Hitler was already gone, spared by a twist of fate and a change in the weather. A sudden change in weather, a hurried departure, and the course of history remained unchanged. The storm raged outside, as inside. Survivors stumbled through the wreckage, stunned by how close they had come to a different world. Elser's act became one of history's greatest what-ifs. His courage and determination were undeniable, but his plan was undone by mere minutes. Captured soon after, Elser would spend years in captivity, his story largely forgotten until long after the war. The world spun on, seemingly untouched by the blast that should have changed everything. Life in Munich resumed, the Nazi regime endured, and the war continued. Yet, for a brief moment, the future had hung in the balance, 30 minutes from midnight, and from a different history. March 13th, 1943. The world was deep in the throes of World War II, and Europe was a continent on edge. Every headline, every whispered conversation seemed to carry the weight of history in the making. On this tense day, Colonel Henning von Tresckow, a high-ranking officer in the German army and a key member of the resistance against Hitler, saw a rare opportunity. As Adolf Hitler prepared to board a plane returning from the Russian front, Tresckow's mind raced with the possibilities. He knew that striking now could change the course of the war. With nerves of steel, Tresckow orchestrated a daring plan. He carefully concealed a powerful bomb inside what appeared to be an ordinary bottle of fine cognac. The bottle was handed off as a gift, then quietly loaded onto Hitler's aircraft, its deadly secret hidden in plain sight. The device was set to detonate mid-flight, timed to eliminate Hitler and his closest aides in one swift, decisive blow. The plan seemed flawless. Every detail had been considered, except for one unpredictable factor: the bitter cold of the high-altitude cargo hold. As the plane soared through icy clouds, the freezing temperatures rendered the bomb's fuse useless, preventing it from igniting. Hours later, Hitler's plane touched down safely. The dictator stepped onto the tarmac, completely unaware of how close he had come to death. The world would never know just how narrowly history had been altered that day. A simple technical malfunction, a twist of fate, and the unpredictable weather had conspired to save Hitler's life. The resistance's hopes were dashed in an instant, their bold plan undone by forces beyond their control. Yet Colonel Tresckow was not deterred. This close call only strengthened his resolve. He and his fellow conspirators would regroup, determined to try again, risking everything for a chance to change the future. In the end, the world remained unchanged, at least for now, all because of a malfunctioning detonator and the cruel hand of fate. But the fight against tyranny was far from over. Just weeks after a failed attempt on Hitler's life, a new plan was set in motion. Rudolf Christoph von Gersdorf, a German army officer and member of the resistance, prepared for a mission that would almost certainly cost him his life. The setting was the grand halls of a Berlin museum, where Hitler was scheduled to attend a special exhibition. Gersdorf's resolve was unwavering. He was ready to make the ultimate sacrifice if it meant ending the dictator's reign of terror. Hidden beneath his overcoat, Gersdorf carried powerful explosives, their timers already ticking down. Every second brought him closer to a moment that could change history forever. The weight of the bombs pressed against him, a constant reminder of the risk he was taking. Hitler arrived at the museum surrounded by his entourage, but instead of pausing to admire the exhibits, he moved rapidly through the halls, barely glancing at the displays. In less than 2 minutes, he was already heading for the exit, his visit far shorter than anyone had anticipated. With only seconds left before the bombs were set to detonate, Gersdorf had to act quickly. He slipped away from the crowd and rushed into a nearby bathroom. Heart pounding, he managed to defuse the explosives just in time, narrowly avoiding disaster. There was no explosion, no chaos, and no headlines the next day. The museum remained silent, its secrets intact. The world would never know how close it had come to a turning point. Hitler left the building, completely unaware of the danger that had lurked so close. He continued on with his day, oblivious to the brush with death he had just escaped. Gersdorf survived the ordeal, his desperate act remaining a hidden chapter in the story of resistance. He had risked everything, yet his courage went largely unnoticed by the world. It was another near miss, another twist in the tangled web of plots and conspiracies that defined the German resistance. The fight against tyranny continued, shaped by moments of bravery that history almost forgot. Later, in 1943, Axel von dem Busche volunteered for a suicide mission, detonate a bomb sewn into his uniform during a demonstration for Hitler. The night before, Allied bombers destroyed the uniforms in a raid. The demonstration was cancelled, and the plot evaporated overnight. Busche survived, but his chance was gone. A single bombing raid meant for war inadvertently saved Hitler's life. Fate intervened, and the world's course remained unchanged. Another thread in the tapestry of chance and fate. The conspirators tried again. This time, Ewald Heinrich von Kleist-Schmencin prepared to kill Hitler with explosives hidden in his jacket. The demonstration was rescheduled, every detail rehearsed, but at the last moment, Hitler abruptly postponed the meeting. The plan collapsed before it began, another opportunity lost to Hitler's unpredictability. Kleist-Schmencin survived, haunted by what might have been. Once again, fate intervened at the final hour. July 20th, 1944. Klaus von Stauffenberg placed a briefcase bomb at Hitler's feet during a military briefing at the Wolf's Lair. Moments before detonation, another officer moved the briefcase behind a table leg. The blast killed and maimed others, but Hitler escaped with minor injuries. Stauffenberg and his fellow conspirators were executed in the aftermath. The war raged on, all because a briefcase was moved 2 feet. A tiny gesture changed the fate of millions. History's course, once again, was decided by chance. In 1938, as Hitler planned to invade Czechoslovakia, German officers plotted to arrest or kill him if he gave the order. They coordinated with Britain, hoping to prevent war. But the Munich Agreement allowed Hitler to annex territory without conflict. The plot unraveled as Hitler was celebrated as a hero. Had war broken out, the conspirators might have acted. Instead, appeasement bought Hitler more time. Another missed chance, and the world edged closer to disaster. In 1938, Swiss student Maurice Bavot stalked Hitler, pistol in hand, at a Munich parade. As Hitler's motorcade passed, the crowd's Nazi salute blocked Bavot's view. He never got a clear shot, no matter how he maneuvered. Bavot was later arrested and executed, his plot ending in obscurity. Hitler survived, shielded by the spontaneous actions of the crowd. Another assassination foiled by sheer chance. By mid-1944, General Helmuth Stief smuggled a bomb into a military exhibition, ready to kill Hitler. But as the moment approached, Stief's nerve failed him. He slipped away, the bomb undetonated, and Hitler left unharmed. Stief was later executed, his hesitation costing the resistance dearly. Another near miss, another twist of fate. The dictator's luck held, and the war continued. History's relentless march went on. Even in 1934, before Hitler's power was absolute, army officers led by Joseph Römer plotted to overthrow him. Their plan was bold, but betrayed before it began. The Gestapo arrested and executed the conspirators in midnight raids. The failed coup cleared Hitler's path to total control. Early resistance was crushed, serving as a warning to others. Had they succeeded, history might have been rewritten. Instead, darkness descended, and the world changed forever. Hitler's survival in these attempts prolonged World War II and cost millions of lives. Each near miss was a crossroads where history could have changed forever. Tiny details, a train schedule, a briefcase moved, shaped the 20th century. These stories remind us how fragile history truly is. Sometimes the fate of the world hangs by the thinnest of threads.